Sorry, Chengappa.
The YouTube live stream is also,
Okay,
I'll
got
send
it.
you the link. I think you can send it to all speakers so that they'll also share it in their status.
Sorry, Chengappa.
The YouTube live stream is also,
Okay.
so just putting it here in the chat so that everybody could take the YouTube link.
Okay, so there are 14 participants.
Perfect.
I think all our speakers have joined. I can't see Nadika. Ma'am. Yeah, Nadika ma'am is there. Hey, Parmesh.
Hi, what's up?
Hi. We were waiting for you.
I was here only. I was listening.
Okay, okay. So yeah, thank you for joining, Parmesh, and thank you. I think everyone has joined. Um, I think Isaac will be starting, I guess.
Before we start, Rochelle, you can start with a one-line welcome and disclaimers. Then I come in.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure, it's already 10 now, then let's start. So, very good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining through YouTube as well as through Zoom. Uh, yes, this is coming from the Yellow Aura Club. Yeah, and yeah, this is the second webinar that we are starting here. I would just like to give a few disclaimers to the ones who have joined. So before we begin, I would like to cover a few points to ensure a smooth and respectful session. I'd request all of you to mute your microphones. Please keep your microphones muted during the presentations or during the speakers when they are engaging themselves, and that would avoid a lot of background noise. Use the chat for questions. If you have any questions during the presentations, you can type it out in the chat box there. It's also there in the YouTube. You have a chat box, and even on Zoom, so always you can feel free for any questions and any time. Technical issues, if you encounter any technical issues, we have our team who is there to guide us, and who will be there to moderate in the background for any technical glitch, or you can always message in the group chat. Yeah, and we would encourage everyone to be respectful and courteous to our speakers and our fellow participants. And this is definitely a safe space for all of us. And we gonna learn a lot and understand the narratives of our uh, guests today who are gonna share the narratives. So yes, definitely it's gonna be amazing experience for all of us. And yes, so I hope that's done from my side, the disclaimer part.
Thank you, Rochelle. So I'm Isaac Thomas. I'm a psychologist at Yellow Aura. I would want everyone to know that we are live streaming this as well. So a little about Yellow Aura. So Yellow Aura is a pioneering organization dedicated to enhancing mental wellness. It is founded by 3 partners and guided by our mentor, my teacher, and our psychologist, Dr. Shalini Ayappa. We specialize in corporate wellness programs that measure and harness productivity through mental health, well-being, and services. We are developing an app that which offers personalized one-to-one consultations, making mental health support accessible, sensitive, and confidential. Our services extend across all age groups, across lifespan, providing assessments, guidance, and therapies for career path challenges, personal enhancements, and also deals with mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, burnout, addictions, PTSD, OCD, and so much more. Our holistic approach is inclusive and ensures personalized care, expert guidance, and evidence-based methods, all within a confidential, flexible environment tailored to our clientele. We offer stress management strategies, child and parent support, emotion management, goal setting assistance, crisis interventions, mental health education, relationship enhancement, support for special needs and learning disabilities, and resilience building. We also offer a variety of training programs for a diverse clientele and courses to address the needs and challenges faced by parents, teachers, and of course, corporates. Our upcoming app launch aims to deliver the best service in the most accessible manner at your handheld devices by the end of September. At Yellow Aura, we are committed to helping individuals and corporates thrive personally and professionally by committing and prioritizing their mental health. Join us on this journey to a healthier and a more balanced life. I now welcome all our beautiful speakers today to shed light on a new topic, rather not new, unaddressed topic that has been not up to the forefront for so long. So I now hand it over to Rochelle. They will be taking us through this webinar and navigating through the topics we have presented. So have a good morning, everyone, and let's join it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Isaac. The amazing introduction about the Yellow Aura. And yes, I will start introducing to you all our speakers today, our panelists who are going to celebrate humanity with pride by sharing their narratives, each one of them. So first, I would like you all to introduce Parmesh Shahani. Please welcome Parmesh Shahani, the head of Godrej DI Lab. Parmesh has put down his camera, right? Okay. Hi, Parmesh. So yes, just a small introduction about Parmesh. So Parmesh is an innovative. The Godrej DI Lab is an innovative initiative focused on empowering inclusion ecosystems within and beyond Godrej Industries Limited and its associated companies. Parmesh brings a wealth of experience from a diverse career that spans academia, media, and corporate world. He has founded India's first youth expression website, edited prominent fashion and lifestyle magazines, established a media convergence think tank at MIT, and played a pivotal role in reimagining the future of two of India's largest business conglomerate through cultural experiments. Parmesh Shahani is the author of Gay Bombay, Globalization, Love and Belonging in Contemporary India, 2008. It was re-released in 2020. And Queeristan, LGBTQ Inclusion in the Indian Workplace, in 2020, which won the C.K. Prahalad Award for Best Business Book of 2021 and the Ladli Award for Gender Sensitivity for 2021. He serves on the boards of Khoj International, Artists Association, and Breakthrough Trust. Parmesh has been a TED Senior Fellow, Yale World Fellow, World Economic Forum Young Global Leader, and Utrecht University Impact Fellow. So yes, please welcome Parmesh. who is there with us today. Thank you so much for joining, Parmesh. And I see Parmesh most often in the office, with his fashionable appearance, and it very much inspires all of us to have that energy when he works. So, yeah. So our next guest is, please welcome Nadika Nadja, a writer, editor, researcher with over 20 years of experience in advertising, communications, journalism, and film and TV. Nadika has been a powerful advocate for social justice, LGBTQIA+ rights, and human rights. As a journalist, she has reviewed and critiqued Tamil films and TV and edited reports for researchers, making complex information accessible and engaging. On the creative front, she developed scripts and dialogues for a TV legal drama noted for its sensitive portrayal of transgender individuals and marginalized communities. Nadika has set up organizations and led teams in advertising and online media, ensuring high quality standards and managing the creative process. Her work is deeply influenced by her values, shaped through experiences in volunteering, crisis management, and advocacy. Passionate about advancing LGBTQIA+ rights and gender equality, Nadika has coordinated international coalitions, managed outreach efforts, and participated in high level forums like the Universal Periodic Review (UPR), and currently she teaches creative writing and journalism at St. Joseph's University, Bangalore. That's my college also, nurturing the next generation of writers and journalists. Let's give a warm welcome to Mrs. Nadika, who is there with us. Thank you for joining, Nadika. And now we have Nesara. Please welcome Nesara with us. Nesara is a dedicated human rights activist and the founder of transgenderindia.com. Nesara harnesses the power of awareness, knowledge, and technology to empower thousands of transgender people across India. Her platform provides crucial information to help transgender individuals make informed choices and avoid being lured into sexual or label trafficking disguised as cultural tradition. The content on transgenderindia.com is translated into 6 major Indian languages, breaking through socio-economic and language barriers. In recognition of her impactful work, Nesara was selected as 2018 Global Freedom Exchange Fellow. Nesara also initiated Talk, India's first trans-specific online discussion forum. Talk connects transgender individuals from across the country, allowing them to discuss gender, life, career, and transition, thus fostering a supportive community. We welcome Nesara with us with a warm heart. Thank you so much, Nesara, for joining us.
You.
Yes, so it was amazing to introduce to you all our distinguished guests for today. And yes, as the webinar titles, celebrate humanity with pride, and we are going to tune into the narratives of each one of our guests here. First, I would like to go to Nesara and have a question, sort of understand, Nesra, that definitely I never met you in person, but I want to know, and all of us want to know, how it has been your journey, as a trans person, as a trans woman, how it has been evolved, or what has been your journey with, and eventually when you landed up, doing focusing on the medical sector, right, or driving a change for the trans community, right? Can you help us or throw some light on your overall journey, so that this could be a narrative which will impact our audience, which will also help us to bring dialogues in the community. So yes, over to you, Nesra, you can.
Thank you, Rochelle. So, hello everyone. My name is Nisara, and I'm a 41-year-old transgender woman. I'm from Bangalore, and when I was growing up, like all the other transgender people, I knew that was different very early. But for the very first time that I realized that transition, something like changing from man to woman, that was how it was communicated, was possible when I was 10 years old. This was 1993. And I was a very curious, sciencey, nerdy child, okay? And and so I used to watch like a lot of nerdy shows on television. And there was one show in the Kannada channel called Prapancha Paryatana. I'm sorry. Okay. They're called Prapancha Paryatana which means world tour in a TV channel. And one segment was about a man becoming a woman, and it was presented very grossly for those times. But for me as a child, yeah, this is it. I want to be that person. And in my brain, it was like, okay, this is one small surgery. I get it done, and I live my life happily ever after. And I also made a huge plan for me in the coming days that okay, I get the surgery. I change my name, change my caste, change my what city, and I go to a different city and I live, find a husband, and I live ever after, happily ever after. Where I didn't know the complexities of being trans and what the society would, what are the legal aspects and all that, and also the medical aspects, because it's not just one small surgery, right? So then, as I grew up, I learned much more about transition all through internet, because in India we don't have sex ed for cis people, at least on those days. These days, I don't know the situation for sex ed. Um, and being trans or being queer, it was it was a taboo, and as I grew up also, I knew that I cannot express myself because the society was quite violent to such things. So all I knew was I had to earn money, I had to get a stable job and collect money for transition. So I grew up, I got good education, and uh, yeah. And finally, I graduated, got a good job in Bangalore, and collected money for transition. And I was in that phase. Okay, now is the time I can come out and at least to my parents and my friends, and transition and execute my childhood plan of just eloping somewhere, nameless, casteless, and just living a life. So I told some of my friends in Bangalore, I was in queer groups then, and all the people there that time, this was 2006, I guess. Someone has, uh,
We request someone who has put down, yeah, I think they are muted. But yes.
So, and at that time, I came out to my queer friends, but no one had known trans people being educated then. All they knew, especially in Bangalore queer networks, it was like, okay, trans people exist, but they exist on the streets. So why would you want to go to streets? But I said, okay, I cannot do anything about. And they were like, if you want sex, just those days there was before Planet Romeo, there was something called G for M. I think Parmesh should know. So, there's enough sex, you can have sex, but if there is, what is that you need being trans? So it was very difficult for me to explain. And I said, so do you know that maternal instinct, those women feel sometimes that I want to have a child, I want to have a child. This is a very strong maternal instinct, right? For me, it was, I want to be a woman. That was the kind of what do you say, the force it was coming out from, that how women feel the maternal instinct. I was feeling this, yes, I am a woman, I want to express. So then I moved back to Mangalore, and I told my family, and that's my father was quite okay because Mangalore is very matriarchal, at least on those days. We are a matriarchy, at least in Dalit Bahujan societies, we are a matriarchy. And I don't know about the other, I mean, I know about the other parts of the society, which is not a matriarchy, but for us, it was a matriarchy. So my father was quite okay. I didn't have a mother back then. I mean, my mother had passed away. So then, but my other family members were quite pissed and they took me to all the babas and corrective therapy and they wanted for them it was a shame and they were also violent, physical, house arrested, and trigger warning. They also wanted to, at a point I felt that they're going to kill me. There were threats, there were all about honor, and it felt more in the direction this is going towards honor killing. And they were also, tomorrow, if you don't do this, then we're going to delete the shame. And one day gathered the courage and decided that I'm going to elope. I eloped. I went to the train station, called my best friend who's gay, and then he came and we didn't know what to do, where to go, So then I wanted to stay in the same city. I didn't want to go to Bangalore, because I had consulted doctors in Bangalore. So my family was looking for me and I didn't know where to go. So I just asked my friend, just get your mother's burqa, let me just hide myself. So he got his mother's burqa. I spent 2 days in the train station and then finally we found a house and I lived there for next 2 years under the burqa, transitioning. So every time I would get out of the house, I would be in a burqa. And so that no one sees me. And I transitioned for 2 years, 2.5 years in one room, just not getting out, because I was very fearful for my life. And then what happened during these 2 years is I used to go to doctors, I had collected some money, get my surgeries. And those days, there were no doctors willing to give HRT, at least in Bangalore. I would go to a doctor, they would just show me the door, even the so-called trans-friendly doctors now, I know them then, and they would just show me the door. And so only people who would entertain me was surgeons. So only option for me to transition was surgically, not through hormones. So I knew I have to get breast implants, go through a lot of FFS to transition. That was it. And I also went through a sort of a plastic surgery addiction, because I used to come back home, go to the surgery, come back home, wait for it to heal. And only person who would see my face would be my gay best friend and no one else. And he would say, "Oh, yeah, like a man." I didn't have that social validation from outside. So I would just stare at mirror for hours, wait for the day to be a night and just pass days. And then after 3 months, I would go for another plastic surgery because that's what the doctor told me. You need at least 3 months between anesthesia or else you'll have some brain damage. So I used to wait every 3 months. I used to go for some FFS to get myself into be a woman. And that was a very difficult phase for me because I did not know I was plastic surgery addicted. All I knew was, okay. And for me also those days, it felt like I didn't know that there was no queer emancipation or anything of this extent those days. So I thought I was crazy and my entire family thought I was crazy. And yeah, I'm doing a crazy thing. So let me do it, So yeah, so after that I transitioned and then was so traumatized by the experience of transition, I just went into steps. There was enough, but still I had created this fake Facebook account, and because 2009 around Facebook came and created this Facebook account, and people started reaching out to me. about transition. So we had this small, before WhatsApp, we had these email groups and SMS and conference calls with each other so that we can talk to multiple people. Though in stealth, we wanted to connect and ask tips from each other, which doctor, how to get it. Because those days there were no clear-cut legal routes also to get your gender marker change. You had to do fraud and all that. My identity was changed through fraud. So either you could go to court, spend a lot of money, waste a lot of time, or you could just go to a cyber cafe, print something and do something. So there was those things. So sharing those tips and tricks. And then around 2011 or something, WhatsApp came. So then we made a WhatsApp group for trans people, and we would share tips with each other. But what happened is anytime a new member came, we had to again same questions, same answers, and it was a bit tiring for everyone. So we wanted something reproducible. So only thing that is more reproducible was online discussion forum. So we wanted to start talk, where online discussion forum where people can search and reusability of that knowledge is there. So we started talk. Along with that, we started writing a few articles, like the articles we have in talk. Slowly in the meantime, I had also succeeded in changing my name, changing my caste. Yeah, I mean, at least my last name and all that. And I was living okay life. I had also started a small business for myself, and because it was impossible to get a job because I did not have any IDs to begin with. I was just one person I had created out in this land called India, just like another cow or a dog. And I was just living there, and government had, or the institutions had no account. I was not being accounted for anything, like most trans people, even right now. Um, so then what we currently do, so then we progressed, and yeah, I also got married in the meantime, and yeah, I think I'm very lucky and I'm very happy. Yeah, all of that I have done. I don't think it was, yeah, a part of it is me, but a huge part of it is luck, because when you're in a jungle, anything can kill you. And that's what trans people are in right now, and even a small misstep here and there can derail it. And that is scary. So in 2000, last year, I think 2 years ago, we started making videos for trans people because one of the reason was we wanted to break those socioeconomic barriers of reading and in English, and also understanding complex texts. So we wanted to, and even a small. Sorry, can you please mute your mic? So we wanted to break those socioeconomic barriers. We cannot break all of them, but at least we can make an effort to break some of those barriers. So we speak in Hindi, though my Hindi is pretty bad. I try to speak in Hindi. I'm a South Indian, and so we make videos about transition, and all we want is trans people to make informed choices. I've been a victim of plastic surgery addiction. And right now, we live in a society where doctors have smelled the money with trans people, they've tasted the blood. So they want to offer all kinds of surgeries, all kinds of treatments, surgeries have become like a shopping list. You can just, I want this, this, and this. So that's something we want patients to, trans people to consciously choose and also be aware of the consequences, because these are life changing and also things that you do to your body, and you get your body only once. And you have to be very conscious. And also in social media, I counsel a lot of people. Every month, I have around a batch of 20 people I talk to. And last month, one thing I would say is like last month, I don't want to point anyone, very famous social media influencer went through FFS. And I make sure the people whom I talk to, every one of us has low self-esteem. We are some of the women who are so body dysmorphic that anything, we would do anything to get our families or our society accept us, And yeah, so I help people to, just be patient and, wait for the results of HRT. Everyone transitions, everyone's body changes. These are very powerful molecules. They do magic. And only thing is, and women come in all shapes and sizes. There is no one form of woman. So that's what I do. But last month, I would say, I got three of my patients went through some form of plastic surgery. Patients, clients went through some form of plastic surgery, which is quite sad for me to say, and for face. And yeah, it's also, it's a society we live in. So it's very important that we make our community aware that these are not just surgeries. These have consequences. And yeah, so I think I took more time than I wanted. I'm so sorry.
That's definitely what we wanted, Nesra, but amazing. Yes, Parmesh wants to go second also. Thanks. Okay. Cool. So yes, Nesra, thank you so much for sharing us and letting us know ki these are the experiences that a trans person goes through. I mean that's something uh, which is very important to vocalize and tell it out, because that is actually impacting someone else and making them aware ki these are the struggles of transitioning, or there are so many factors that affect us, which are very normalized, and which doesn't seem a big deal, or which doesn't actually bother someone, especially how we navigate ourselves in the society, or how we have to. When you said, who the feminization process, also in order to match up to the cis women folks, we have that notion that we have to match according to a cis woman. A woman has to be like this, a woman has to sound like this, or we have those notions which are again completely developed since ages and since decades. But yes, this was something very important for all of us to understand, and how you are applying, how you are also now motivating others and helping others to get into the line and accept themselves, embrace themselves. And I think that's how we make the world a better place, when we are helping others to embrace themselves. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and your journey, Nasra, and more power to you. And we are always happy to have you with us anytime. So yes, I got to know that Parmesh will be leaving in some time. So we'll have Parmesh next with us, because I think you'll have to go. So definitely, let me go to Parmesh. Parmesh, can you switch on your camera? Yes.
Hi.
Hi, Parmesh.
No, I'll be leaving at 11. So I thought it was
ठीक है.
one hour thing. So I done something else after that. Is it scheduled for longer?
We thought this would go up till 11:30. This would be something like after 11 we have a Q&A session as well. If we get questions,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Maybe I'll stay till 11:10, but I have to be somewhere at 11:30. So I wish I knew. I would have extended it, but sure.
So people, please keep your questions ready for Parmesh now only.
Yeah.
Yes, Parmesh. So over to you. I would. We know you are. I feel that you are a DNI tycoon in the entire corporate. I see you in that lens. I see your work, and it's amazing. It's inspiring for many queer folks to get into the line of corporate, to understand their dynamic nature, how they can contribute in a corporate world. While I see you being carrying yourself so dynamically and so vigorously to you make a DNI lab in Godrej, to encourage people to have a dialogue, to give spaces, to make the spaces more welcoming for persons of different sexualities, of different orientation, of different expression. And you have been that source of strength and the support, at least through your presence. That's how you have brought the change. And so we all want to know uh, what it has been for you, your journey, or what has inspired you to bring that change in your day-to-day work, or maybe starting from your journey as you stepped into from your college life, and then getting into the corporate, or getting into your own the media world, right? So can you just give a glance of how your journey has been as someone from the community, and encouraging others to get into the same line?
So thank you. Actually, a lot of the inspiration is from friends like you, Rochelle. And then when I listen to Nesara share with such vulnerability and openness about their own journey and their own struggle, a lot of my inspiration now is drawn from the incredible LGBTQ individuals, activists, change makers, really emerging all across this country. And in the interest of time, I would urge everyone to read Queeristan as well as the previous book, because the journeys are captured in both of these. What I'd like to share is how we are moving from just commitment in terms of words to action. And I think that is what the need is for organizations, for schools, for colleges, for educational institutions, for I would say state and national governments as well. If people really care about LGBTQIA lives, our dreams, our desires, acknowledging our incredible past and multiple histories, acknowledging the contribution we've made, and acknowledging our potential, then they need to move from lip service to actual commitment and action. So a lot of what Rochelle, the DI lab you spoke about earlier, our aim is not just at Godrej, but also at other companies in India. How do we get people to move from intent to action? One bit is by hiring. So we really focus with each of the 6 group companies that we are part of to create more jobs. So in the past few years, we've gone from, say, maybe 5 out LGBTQ to more than 150 out and proud LGBTQ. Needless to say, there are hundreds more who are not out. But I think at Godrej, we have the highest number of out and proud LGBTQ individuals. And I think that's important in the sense that the organization is one in which people feel safe to share their identities. Of course, the same policies and benefits are offered to anyone, whether they're not out or out doesn't matter. But the fact that you can be yourself, you can come as you are, you can express your identity to your colleagues, you can work without fear of your supervisor judging you differently because of who you are, I think is very, very important. So one dimension of what we are doing is very much, as you've yourself experienced, trying to hire more people from the community. Another is really thinking of the community not just through an HR lens, but through a product and innovation lens. So one of our group companies, Godrej Capital, for example, has a home loan for same-sex partners to take, until marriage is legalized in this country, until LGBTQIA marriage. There are still couples from the community who may want to take a home loan and things like that. So we are really thinking about how we can serve various members of the community with products and services. And the third is advertising, communication, showing queer people in our ads. And the fourth is really linking what we do in terms of a commitment to CSR. So we've been giving money, for example, to Zainab's Cafe, to Abhina's organization, to so many others that are working on LGBTQI and trans inclusion across our country. So the journey I'd like to share is that for anyone who's on this webinar who really is interested and wants to care and wants to commit to improving and helping LGBTQI flourish in our country, I would say really go from intent to action, because your talking is not going to give us jobs or create products for us or help us thrive, but your actions and your real actions will. So Rochelle, that's what I'm focused on at this moment in life. how do I get our own Godrejites, but also others across this country to really do the work. And I'm so happy to be part of initiatives like what you are doing here with Yellow Aura and so many others to really help change mindsets. So thanks for having me here. Very, very happy to be here and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Parmesh. It was amazing. The major uh, force that you have done, it's from intent to action, that we really have to do things happen. It's not only that we want to write articles, it's not that we only want to publish that we are having a march, but it's what we are strategizing upon and how we are making things happen at the ground level. That's amazing, and that's what I think, as I have experienced in Godrej, it's the similar way that we function there. It's the hiring is the ultimate. We start from the hiring, so we get people. We try to advertise our queer folks, or we try to make the narrative change that anyone can be the CEO. It's not that you have to be in a certain background, or you have to check mark only in a certain background. So it's giving a space. It's making the inclusivity more obvious, making it up to the mark and more evident is what the DAI lab headed by Parmesh is doing. So that's an amazing stand that we are doing, Parmesh. Thank you so much. Uh, Yes. So next, let's go to our next panelist, Nadika. Hi, Nadika, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us. I never had a personal one-to-one discussion till now with Nadika, ma'am, because though I'm her student, so it was during the lockdown, and we had online classes, and Nadika, ma'am, used to take us, the literature, I think general English. So yes, but I couldn't get a chance to meet her in person, but here we are. Yes, Radhika ma'am. So I would also, first of all, thank you for being here with us despite your busy schedule. I'm aware that you had your personal schedule, but you still made it for us. Thank you so much. And now we would really would be looking forward to get some of your experiences. I've been following Nadika. I've been on Twitter and seeing her tweets, and getting through different spectrums of activism, how it's affecting transgender people or people from the minority groups. And so Nadika, I would like you to share your experience, maybe starting from your stage of life, how it has affected you, and how you have embraced yourself, and you're also empowering through the media lens, through journalism, through even through corporate experience, through your institution experience. I want all of these mixtures to come through and make us understand how that has brought a flavor and has given others to come up and be a voice for others. Over to you, Nadika.
Okay, thanks, Rochelle. Thanks, Nesra. Thanks, Parmesh. Parmesh, we run into each other once in a while, so good to see you here again. My experience is kind of, I mean, it's stuff that we've all spoken about, our self-realization and the journey we are on. So I don't want to go too much into it. It's the usual thing of discovering your sort of some kind of contradictions in the way that we look at each other and we look at ourselves and stuff like that, and then sort of starting from that point and going on. So I don't want to talk too much about it. I will say that, like Parmesh says, a lot of it has also been written before, so I don't want to stress it again. But the thing that what I think right now is we are now at a point in our lives, in our country's history, where a lot more needs to be done. We need to, we need to work together. We need to come out. We need to, that idea of, okay, I had this intention. I want to be an activist, or I want to help people like myself. But then how do we go from there, right? Because what we also need to know is that we are currently going through sort of trying times in terms of laws, in terms of the political climates and things like that. So I think it's important for us to build as many bridges as possible to as many people as possible, and sort of understand that we are all going through very similar sort of experiences and sort of build that connection with each other to so encounter these things that we are the systemic operations and systemic troubles that we will face and we will currently face. So that's largely the point I want to talk about. And one of the ways that I do that is, well, I am an out trans person in a university environment. I talk to students. I talk to my fellow teachers. We talk about how do you address people in a classroom, what kind of things, and how do you talk about queer experiences in a classroom? How do you talk about when you because we are largely English teachers, for instance, right? I work within an English department. I teach journalism in English. So if it's a story, how do you talk about a story? What is the kind of experiences can you bring to that idea of teaching a tale? How do you talk about people who are not yourself? People whose lives are very different from yours. And so these are the kind of things that I try to do. I also work at the idea of language. I'm bilingual. I'm actually a little bit more than bilingual, but the two languages that I'm most familiar with are English and Tamil. And so I look at how language matters. How do you address someone, right? We have now in English, we have words like transgender, which changed from the 80s and 90s when people kept saying transsexual or tranny and things like that, right? How that has now largely been made obsolete by trans people ourselves, sort of reclaiming this word transgender, reclaiming the word queer, reclaiming the word lesbian, and things like that. So language has to change, language will change, and language will evolve. Language has the ability to give us the respect we want. Language has the ability to give us the dignity and personhood and the humanness that we seek, right? And so that is one of the ways that I work with this. I work with both English and Tamil and a little bit of Kannada, a little bit of Hindi, and a little bit of other languages to talk about how you can talk about yourself, your experiences, your lives, your queerness, your attraction, your identity, and things like that. So I work with organizations in Tamil Nadu on bringing these ideas out. I was part of a small team that put together a glossary of terms in Tamil and English of how to address people with dignity. What are the terms that people use for themselves? What are the terms that the larger? And so when you said we are a queer community, we're not one community, right? Within the queer umbrella, there are multiple communities, multiple intersections. So how do we all talk about each other? And things like that. Yes, Parmesh, there is a glossary link. I will share that at the end of maybe at the end of the session. Yeah, so the idea is to build that kind of expression, right? In our English language, in our Tamil, in our Hindi, in our Kannada, in our Malayalam, whatever, right? To use those terms in a way. So that glossary has now been adopted by the state government of Tamil Nadu post a couple of hearings with the Madras High Court that sort of looked into these things. So that's one kind of work that I'm trying to do, and using language in better ways, using language with a bit more dignity, a bit more power, and bit more sympathy and empathy and understanding. So those are the kinds of things that I do. Working with local organizations to strengthen their capacity, doing trainers for security, for DEI. Actually, now we are moving on from DEI to something called ESG, apparently, environment, sustenance, and governance. So equity and things like that. So that's the kind of work that I do, apart from the core thing that I do, which is teaching English and journalism.
Thank you so much, Navika. Thank you for sharing, your works that you do and the different experiences that you also go through while, promoting through language and, making it more important and imperative why language is important, why language can also demand dignity to a person's identity. And that's something that's very much important for us to address even in today's world, because yes, not every language, when yesterday when I was just typing something, and I also always realize that not every language has that uh, words to express, or there are no words even for a non-binary person. If we want to address a person's pronoun as, in English it's they them, like in Hindi pe, if you consider one person as aap aa jao, aap chale jao, so people will be like, why are you giving him why are you respecting the person, so there's no concept of a non-binary or uncertainty in a person's gender when it comes to certain languages, and how we have to try and understand how to use those language, right? So yes, by language sometimes we are restricted to not able to address someone as they want to get addressed by, right? So yeah, that's an amazing, interesting field that we need to also focus. Yes, so I would like to go over to Nesra once again. I just want to understand, Nesra, now when you said that your work is being really inspiring from the last 2 to 3 years that you started in transgenderindia.com, right? Can you help us understand, like, what were your main challenges when it comes to establishing this platform? Were there any challenges that you faced in terms of the public not getting the whole idea of it? Because I have gone through your channel and I'm seeing that there's an amazing explanation about transgender in Hindi, and making people understand the nitty-gritties of how trans life works, how what are the different terms that we use, or what are the small things, how the HRT works, how it affects our body, right? And those you have brought in Hindi, trying to adapt it to different cultures and trying to reach out to different audience. Was there any challenges that you faced in the initial days in establishing such a very dynamic platform in a very cis normative world where everything is considered as normal, everything is considered as uh, ho jata hai. Why do you have to explain these things? Can you share something on that, Nessa?
Yeah. First correction, Transgender India is not 3 years old. We launched our website like in 2015, so it's almost going to be 10 years. So then that's videos we started making 2 years ago, 2 years ago. But Transgender India itself, the talk and the other things that we do, the articles, has been there for 10 years, almost 10 years. That said, yeah, initially when I started the website, I was very scared of the society. Where, as I told you, I was traumatized by my experience of transition, and I was in stealth. So I was, airaloper, we say in Dutch. So that's like walking on eggshells. So I was very scaredly doing things that I was doing. I even did my first press launch of my website with a mask on. That was like super scary for me because I'd built a life for myself. What would happen to that? Will I lose everything? No, yeah, and my partner knew that I was trans, but other than that, my neighbors didn't know I was trans. Would I be kicked out? Which I did. I did ended up being kicked out. But will I lose all my? I was running a business. How would my employees who were also from not very educated backgrounds or educated backgrounds react to it? All those things was really scary for me to thread. And after that, yeah, it was the very first time that I was doing anything press and all that, and I did not have education in talking in public or even what uh, in activism or human rights or anything. So I think we also made some blunders. One of the blunders we did was a campaign that we ran, which was very, I realized it was bad, but we were just young people doing something. And then what Yeah, one of the things that I find difficult right now is maybe Nadika can help me, is that how to thread this language and reachability, accessibility to the community, right? Because we get messages, we get like hundreds of messages every week, and because we are on an open platform and we are at the grassroots level from people, and only thing that people want to ask is मैं लड़का से लड़की बनना चाहता हूँ, और मुझे लाइक औरत बनना है, और या मुझे आई वांट टू बी अ वुमन, एंड as I thought as a child that I want to one surgery and it's done. Lot of people even today think that it's just one surgery and they're done. Now if sometimes I get criticism like from the community that it is like, oh, you should not use trans man or trans woman, or you should not use sex change, you should use some other terminology and all that. But at the end of the day, my goal is to reach people. I don't want to be a super high influencer or something. That's not my career aspiration, but I want to be able to help people, I want to be able to reach people who are searching on sex change. I want to be able to reach them. How do you thread this that what people are looking for? I mean, what people know to look for. And for example, if I put trans masculine, it would never reach the people whom I intend to reach. I don't intend to reach people who already know about transition, right? I want to reach people who do not know about it. So that is a challenge that we're still struggling with. We don't want to disrespect anyone. We want to respect everyone's work, but still we want to be able to do our. So that's the current challenge we are currently
Yeah,
struggling with.
that's something that always comes hand in hand, that reaching out to set of audience and then not reaching out to other set of audience, and and there will be people who would also want an entire help just because you have started something. There also will be a lot of demand from the queer community ki, no, even there are other genders or there are other spectrums as well, and we need to even consolidate or understand that. So yes, so navigating these things in a bringing out your help, reaching out to your audience is again a topic to discuss and understand how we can try and just make a space again, or try to make everyone feel involved here, at the same time accomplishing our mission and giving access to medical benefits, and sharing the knowledge about trans identities is again something that is definitely you're doing it. But yes, thank you so much, Nasra, for sharing that experience with us. So I would also want to ask Parmesh. Parmesh, your two works of Gay Bombay and Queeristan, definitely it has been reaching the highlight, in the the books, or in the magazines forum, in the in the literature forum. How do you how what changes have you seen? I'm sure that you must be getting a lot of text, DMs, messages, and comments from people sharing their experiences. But could you help me understand what are the changes, or what are the narrative changes that you yourself have experienced after you have given it a published these books and seen a change in the narrative or in the dynamics of how people are accepting themselves, or how people are trying to carry themselves in the way they want to?
Yeah, so thank you for that. And what a lovely question by Satvik. So, to answer your question about changes, I think we've seen a lot of changes over the past few years. I tend to fluctuate on a daily basis between extreme hope and despair, because one has seen changes that one would not have imagined in a lifetime, but one still sees so much violence, so much injustice, so much inequality. So I fluctuate on a daily basis between, extreme hope and real sadness within our community. And as long as I can do 51% hope and 49% despair, I think it's been a good day. in terms of the good changes, I think we have a generation of queer people for whom crumbs of acceptance are no longer important. And for example, when I grew up, just being recognized or being seen or not being treated badly was enough. But now I'm seeing across the country, out, proud, fierce young queers for whom just not being treated badly is not enough. And it's reflected in our judgment, right? Some people were happy with 2018 saying, okay, we are no longer criminals. But there's a generation of people saying it's not enough that we are no longer criminals, right? We are honest, tax-paying, equal citizens in this country, governed by a constitution that in any case guarantees us certain rights, and we need to have all these rights. So we need to be like, nothing special, but, not being given all the rights that are in any case ours is not going to be okay. So I see that change, and I see it in schools, I see it in colleges, I see schools having LGBTQ associations, I see almost every college having either some kind of club, I see workplaces. Certainly, it is more informal, but I see greater acceptance even in informal workspaces. I see, curricula changing. I see progressive state governments. Like one of our businesses, Godrej Consumer, has just set up a new 500 crore factory in Tamil Nadu. And the Honorable Chief Minister Stalin has said that, they are encouraging us to have 50% women, 5% PWD and LGBTQ, and we're going to work together to ensure that. So I'm seeing, state governments get interested and involved in creating a more equitable environment and scenario for all our communities to flourish and thrive, and seeing it as a win-win, seeing it as a win-win possibility for everyone. So I'm seeing changes that are quite, wonderful. And even until, marriage is legalized, for example, I'm seeing so many wonderful queer ceremonies and things like that, right? So for many of people, this really matters. And so I'm just seeing, and of course, this is in addition to all the media, almost the, flourishing of so much queer content across genres on not just, OTT, but literally everywhere else as well, right? So I'm seeing all of that. But I'm also seeing discrimination. I'm also seeing, suicides continuing. I'm also seeing harassment continuing. I'm also seeing, various organs of the state not being sensitized to, whether it's a 2018 judgment, whether it's the flawed 2019 Trans Act, which still had recommendations for how, authorities should behave with people, or, any of that. I don't see a lot of the laws being operationalized. And as a result, I see a lot of suffering as well within our communities. So I think it's, if I'm thinking of change, it's never a one way, it's always a to and fro, to and fro. I see a momentum towards positive change. Since I'm now 48, I would really like to see it faster, because I've spent most of my life, growing up in an unequal country. I would hope that I don't die in it. I would like very much to, over the next couple of decades, grow older and maybe die in a country in which, my people have the same rights as others. And given that as I said earlier, I'm a rich and active contributor to the tax economy. I'm also Sindhi. So, if I'm paying so much income tax, I want my equal rights. Otherwise, if you're not giving me equal rights, I'd be happy to pay less tax and take half the rights. But if I'm giving full paisa, I want the full vasool, no? So I would like to see more.
Yes, yes, thank you so much, Parmesh. And that's really, I mean, lot of true instances what you have just mentioned, that yes, it's encouraging people at the same time. I mean, yes, even there were decades back where women did not have rights to vote. Now we know where we are, and so yes, I think the constant struggle for same-sex partner, same-sex marriage, or even for the transgender judgment, definitely there has been a lot of drawbacks and consequences of judgments that people have faced, and that's where we maybe our judgment doesn't really see the intersection that's there in the society, how it could affect. definitely being the majority, sometimes though the minorities, it affects them the most, right? And the ones whose laws are passed and people are in a way happy with whatever it either affects or it even doesn't make any difference. So it just goes on the papers and it just goes on the newspapers and gets published. So the similar line of understanding the media and understanding how journalism works, Nadika, I would want you also to maybe share a few instances of how, through your journey of media and culture, could you help us understand how representation has come up in media and how it has maybe brought a change, or maybe whether the change, whatever now the narrative has come up with, but are we still happy with that, or are we still not satisfied with the change? Can you throw us some light on that?
Yeah, we're not satisfied. I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's an equal world yet. Um, so definitely there are more queer people in the media now than before. I mean, that goes without saying. But as the famous saying goes, you push a knife in 10 centimeters and then pull it out 4 centimeters. That does not mean that laws have become equal. No, it does not mean that there is no trouble. So we still need more people in the media. We need more people in all other things, right? In policy, because we keep saying, oh, this. I mean, Parmesh mentioned the 2019 Trans Act. I was one of the people who went in 2016 and 2017 and 2018 to Delhi to depose in front of the government, in front of the parliament, to talk about why that act, as they had framed it, was not good enough, right? But we still got the law that we have right now, because it was not enough. 10 people going there and talking about why the law is flawed is not enough. We needed more people there, but it was a start, right? So we need more queer people in policy making. We need more queer people in media. We need more queer people in education. We need more queer people in advertising, in marketing, in production, name whatever it is, right? Clothing design, right? Why should clothes be blue or green or yellow or red? Why can't they have more options? Why isn't there a clothing line for trans people, right, who want to dress gender neutral? Why isn't there? So we need people in all kinds of fields. So it's not enough that we have a few people in the media right now talking about queer issues, but we do. It is a little better than what it was before. What is also happening is that right now, because there is suddenly an uptick of funding that's coming for various, um, you know, uh, for trans persons, for NGOs and for community organizations and all that. The media looks at it and says, okay, let me get a little bit of that pie. Let me get a little bit of that money. And so we see more stories talking about queer people and trans people especially, right? But it stops with being a sort of oh, poor people, look at them, they're crying, let's do something. It comes from a place of, oh, I want to save these people, right? It's not about where is the queer joy in this? Where is the queer success in this? Where is the queer happiness? Where is the queer, um, where are the queer people doing crimes? We don't have stories about that, right? So we need more people representing us in media. Um, there is some movement. For instance, I've posted a couple of links in chat of the media guide that was created by friends of mine, people who I work with, that talks about how in Tamil Nadu, the media can be more dignified, more respectful in talking about queer people. And that includes the glossary that I worked on, that we all worked on together, right? So that is one step forward, but we need more in terms of activism. We need more activists to call out media at all times. We need more activists to call out the government at all times. We need more sort of dialogue and more sort of bridge building at all stages. Yeah, and what Parmesh says, sorry, I keep name dropping Parmesh. I don't know why. I will I will not refer to you anymore. Okay. What what he says is true in that the people who are the most affected tend to be tend to be the most sort of visible, because it's literally life or death for us, right? So we are the ones who are out there already talking, but allies need to step up, and that's important also, right? And this is something that I faced when we were doing our activism for the 2019 Trans Act, is that there are lots of newspaper outlets, there are lots of research organizations. Even now, I get a message from some random researcher saying, "Hey, I'm doing on trans people. Can I come and talk to you?" But yeah, fine, talk to me. But I'm not going to say anything new that I've not said before. But where are you when I wanted you to step up there when the law was happening, when we were saying the law was not enough, the law was not going the full hog, right? We needed more of the media at that point of time. We needed more of the activists and the researchers and the universities to step up at that time and say, yes, these are our people. We've been talking to them for like 20 years. There's so much research on trans in India. There's so much research on queer in India, right? But the universities don't step up when we are asking for support. The media doesn't step up when we're asking for support. It's left to us to go fight for ourselves. And after a point of time, we get burnt out, because this is, after a point of time, we have to take a call between, do I survive for tomorrow or do I keep fighting? And at some point of time, it becomes, listen, I might as well just go and eat, because it doesn't matter whether I'm fighting, because I need to go eat tomorrow. I need to make my own life. I need to make my living. So at which point of time we get burnt out and we get very disillusioned with the whole idea. So it's that kind of stuff that also needs to happen. Some kind of, which is what I meant by bridge building. It's not enough by just saying we'll do this, but we also need to talk to other people who are our allies, to sort of take up the fight when we need a bit of a break.
Yes, Nadika. Thank you so much for enlightening us and sharing the ground realities of, how it's so important when it is to be a true ally. It's basically about standing and just not after the construction is done, but definitely from the start, and how much we are investing ourselves to help someone make a safe space for someone. Definitely, even I've come across this thing. No, it's never enough for a queer community. It's never enough living in a in a completely cis majority world. It's never enough for a queer person to get visibility, and there's no full stop there. It has to just go on and go on, and we need more stories. We need more people to come out and be proud of what they want to be and what they are. So that's the crux of building our narratives and helping us understand why each narrative can bring change in anyone's life. And I'm really proud to be a part of the LGBTQIA plus community as well, embracing my orientation, embracing my identity. Definitely, I always say this thing even when I do my induction in Godrej. I do the induction for the new joinees, and there is one specific question that comes, whether LGBTQIA, the whole thing, what is happening now. Many people are coming out. Many people are saying, ki, even I feel this way. No, now it has become like a TikTok trend. If some people say, कि आजकल का trend ही है, कोई भी gay हो रहा है, anyone is becoming a bisexual, anyone is identifying as a trans. So I just frame that question, whether it is a myth or a fact, And for the fact, there are some people who say, I'm confused, Rosh. I don't know whether it is a fact or a myth. But there are some couple of individuals who also say it is a myth, because it's not a trend. It's something that you're pushing when someone comes out as a trans, or when someone comes out as a gay person. You have always been felt that inside, but when you see other person doing it, you feel this is the same thing that I am going through. You have just said it, you have just being bold about it, but now I'm getting the push कि अरे नेसरा को भी बचपन से औरत बनने का बहुत बहुत लगता था. She was having the craving. Dude, I mean, I was feeling the same thing. This is the same feeling that I had, but there was nobody else for me to explain, to make me understand ki, Rochelle, this is how it works. This is how you need to embrace it. Definitely, now I'm 27 and I'm still doing it, but I'm glad that these narratives and these stories are eventually helping people to embrace themselves, to make them feel what they are, and to completely be out and proud of their identities. Now let's quickly go to the questions that are there on the chat box. Yeah, yeah, Parmesh, you don't have to envy my generation. You are a part of this generation. I just saw that. Um,
So sweet. I'm going to actually bounce. So lots of love to everyone. Mwah. I'm so thankful,
yes,
Rochelle, for including me. I mean,
we love
I
and
feel
yeah,
so. You said I'm part of your generation. Oh,
yes, you are.
I've just
Okay.
aged the chat by so much, but thank you. Thank you. And it was really, really wonderful. And lots of love. And for everyone listening, please share, but also go home and actually do something. Don't
Yeah,
just feel good. Your feeling good is not going to get us jobs or change the laws or whatever. Your actions will. Okay. Mwah.
very
Bye.
strong. And thank you so much, Parmesh, for being here with us. Amazing experiences and amazing words. Lots of love. Thank you
Lots
so
of love.
much for
Bye.
joining. Bye. Take care. Yes, so Parmesh had to leave. That's completely fine. Let's get still under the discussion with all the questions we have. I think there was one question for Naisa Rao. Would you like to address that? I will read out the question for you. Queer visibility is very important to educate general public. However, sometimes the choice would be between visibility and security. What is the effective way to deal with it? Which you have already answered. कि खुद का अगर survival kit नहीं है तो we need to get the oxygen first and then help others. Would you want to elaborate more on that?
Yeah, I think it's very important to be secure first, like how they write it in, if you've ever traveled by plane. So they write, दूसरों की मदद करने से पहले खुद का ऑक्सीजन मास्क पहने. So be sure that you're secure and safe. And in the meantime, learn more about the community. I understand these days there's so much pressure for younger people to come out and declare it on social media and all that. But these people are not going to help you when your life is in danger. You're responsible for your own life. So don't be in a pressure to come out or to declare it and be visible very openly unless you feel it's secure and secure enough for you. But sometimes, as Nadika said, there's no option for us as trans people to come out, especially during our transition and all. Yeah, in that case, I think it's very important to connect to your local uh, what LGBT queer groups and to have people watch out for you, to have people behind you. Tomorrow something happens to you, there should be someone for standing with you or looking for you. So always be in contact with people who are from the community because these are the people who, as I told you, when I transitioned, I thought I was crazy. Sadly, this is a reality. Cis-normative society for a person who's transitioning makes them believe that they're crazy, they're friend, they're whatever queer word came from that. So when you're with your own community, among the crazy, you're not the crazy, If all of us are crazy, then you're not crazy. You don't feel crazy. So just make sure you're secure and make sure you have a community before you take any action. Either it could be, cis or straight friends who are very supportive to you, or it could be the community that is physical community, not an online community, someone who's with you, near you in your city. Online, good, well, but what is real is what is around you. And also don't be influenced by social media because a lot of these people are come from very privileged backgrounds and they have a lot to protect them, their parents, nothing will happen to them, if you are vulnerable, your vulnerability is going to affect you. No one is going to come to save you. You don't have to Godfather. So be safe first.
True, true. That's something very important to know because we do have everyone's background and the intersection of where you belong. Your education, your family background, all of those things does matter. Nadika, you had something to say?
Yeah, this is an important question. Whether do I do I fight or do I, support myself? And visibility and security. This is a very important and very good question. Thanks, Naisara, for addressing that. We need to talk about this. I would say, is that first make yourself, like Naisara said, like we've said before, uh, it's always good to fight from a position of strength, right? You can't fight from a position that you don't feel good about yourself. When you're not sure of yourself, when you're not secure in your surroundings, there's no point in fighting. So that which point you'll have to sort of protect yourself first. This also matters when things like, oh, do I come out in my college or do I come out in my work? Do I tell my colleagues that I'm queer or trans or whatever it is, right? And the question is always make sure you are in a position that you can sustain yourself. For instance, despite the years of DEI and whatever that has been happening, despite all of that, despite having policies that says no discrimination, organizations are made up of people, and people can be, the very basic word is idiots, right? And so, can you just give me 1 minute? I'm just getting a call. You guys talk, I'll come back. But the idea is protect yourself first. Yes.
Got it.
And don't be influenced by social media, because there's a lot of bullshit there, and it could, yeah.
I think
So,
social media is definitely, it's filled with people who have the agency to do things. They have the whole control where that is not evidently shown as obvious.
and the most successful people on social media are the people who have thought about their security, and their, or either are from very privileged backgrounds who have people to protect them, or are the people who are very meticulously. See, for example, I'm not a social media influencer. I have my personal social media profile. I don't post anything there. I'm the most private person, if not for Transgender India. But even for the Transgender India, I said I walked on the eggshells. I never, yeah, unless I am secure, I can't help someone. And if you do something prematurely, it may not be sustainable. And
Yes.
it may, yeah, you may burn out, or, yeah. So this,
We always need to have the security ambience to undergo anything. Yes. Thank you so much, Nesra. There's one more question. I think, Nesra, have you read that by
yeah,
Iola
I'm reading it.
Demello? I'll read out the question. I'll read out the comment, in fact. Question to Nesra. You spoke about plastic surgery addiction. First of all, thank you for talking about it, as it isn't talked about enough. My question is, what is your advice to younger people who want to get surgeries or feel like they are getting into a cycle of getting a lot of surgeries?
See, this is a very difficult topic for a person to navigate, and certain surgeries may be unavoidable, like, for example, getting a bottom surgery or things like that. But when you're going for any other surgeries other than bottom surgery, or, yeah, even for something like breast enhancement, uh, also understand, for a lot of people, you're a cash cow. I speak to a lot of doctors in who are helping transgender people, uh, and no one wants to speak about complications. For example, breast implants. There is none of the doctors in India wants to speak about breast implant illness, breast implant associated cancers. Nothing. They just want to say this is a safe procedure. It works for everyone. And personally, I would say have your hopes on HRT. It will do magic for you. And the goal is not to be Deepika Padukone. The goal is not to be another, drop dead gorgeous woman. Everyone wants to be that, but the goal is to be the girl next door, or if you're my age, the auntie next door. Whatever. The goal is to be just blended. It's not to be what the another Deepika Padukone. And yeah, I think what you need is to make friends around you would accept you the way you look and will not, make you feel excluded or make you feel different. And that will give you inner peace, and that will make you forget about these surgeries. When you blend in your life and your life is going happy, you forget about these surgeries. Only when you're in a circuit where people make you feel different, or as I told you, you're consuming content on social media which is excessively about plastic surgery or skin care, which is then you can be triggered. As I told you, three of my clients got triggered by one of the posts that one of the influencers put. But in that case, speak to a therapist, talk to them, and because these surgeries have consequences. These are not safe procedures, and you're beautiful the way you look. What's the fun of everyone having the same nose? In a few years, that nose will be so common that it will be just another, ugly nose. So, and what I also hear from plastic surgeons these days is they're always curious to experiment with our bodies. Every time there's a version 2.0 of a surgery, especially about vaginoplasty. There's always a version 2.0. This is a better technique. This is my technique. But what is the safest technique for the person who's going through the surgery for first time? That is something I think the surgeon doesn't talk about enough. It's all about having the version 2.0. I think Nadika wants to add something.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to add a little bit of my own experience. I've undergone a couple of rounds of surgery, and one of the things that isn't talked about much is your overall other health, right? And especially if you're, see, one of the things is doctors, and I say this with lots of respect, they're idiots. And they don't really understand trans medication. They don't understand medication in the first place, that each of us are different in our own ways, right? And that what one works for one person is not going to work for everybody. It will not work for the next person. But what is happening is we're taking something that has been designed for a certain set of people and then trying to apply it to completely different populations and completely different human beings. And so there are going to be things that will go wrong. For instance, I've had a couple of rounds of surgery, and it's taken me more than 3 years to heal properly, right? It's not, even now I have problems with it because, body types are different, body skin types are different. And so there are chances of infection and things like that. So I think it's very important for anyone who's looking to get surgeries to sort of get a full understanding of what your body is like at first before you even start the process. Understand what are your health meters like, what are your health metrics like, what is your tolerance to pain, what is your tolerance to other things. For instance, basic things like sugar and salt and your blood work and things like that. Sorry, this is getting a little too bit medical. I don't think that was the intention, but the idea is to understand your own body first before we go into any of these other things. Be very comfortable in your body. Be comfortable understanding and talking and asking questions of the doctor before you commit to anything. Sorry, that's just a thing that I wanted to say.
And also, no, doctor's intention, his intention is just to make money. He's not
Exactly.
a trans ally. He's not a trans ally.
even
He does not speak about risks.
Yeah.
And work on yourself, have friends around you, have community around you. That's way more, because as I told you from my experience, okay, when I went through that plastic surgery addiction, every time it was a bit, okay, let me just straighten my nose, let me just curve but every time it is not as per your expectations. There is things that doctors do on the surgery table that is not communicated or talked about before. I one such case where it was a very good friend of mine. She asked me reference to a plastic surgeon who does FFS, who did mine. So I was very new at that time. So I just told her the name of the surgeon, and she went to him, paid a lot of money, and he did a lot of pre-surgery whatever research on her, and they also talked extensively what are the procedures she wanted. And when she woke up from the plastic surgery, she actually wanted to lift her forehead or something, or lift her brows. She had one scar from here to above your eyebrows. And that was, she called me and showed me, oh, what is this? I talked to the doctor. It's like, I did not know what to tell her. It's like very visible scar on your forehead and very, badly healed scar. And I felt so bad for even referring her to someone. From that, I don't refer any person to a plastic surgeon who does FFS. And and the doctor just told her, he'll just lace it off it, but it doesn't go with laser. And he would just put some eyebrows on her. What he told her was he would move her, lace off her eyebrows and put her eyebrow on the scar. It's such a mess. So don't trust the doctors. Don't trust the surgeons at least. They're just interested in money.
Feel Nasara ki because we are from this minor sections, so they don't really mind taking a advantage of that and just. Matlab, there's also a aspect of the class that the person is coming from, because transgender ko we can try it out on them, or we can just do so. There's nothing like, it wouldn't be the same approach to the majority of the from the cishet group when it is approached to someone who is from a minority, from a transgender community, because you don't have a backup, you don't have a support from, again, from if anything goes wrong. I don't think there's any legal support that much accessible as much as it is accessible for a cishet person. There are no much consequences that the management would face in the long run. So
And also, these clinics are popped up like mushrooms in like third floor of a complex and all that. And they do all the procedures, surgeries, major surgeries in the third floor of a complex or something. I went to a clinic in Delhi. It was I don't want to name the clinic. It's a very famous one. It's just like on the third floor of a complex. And they have the OTs there. And it is like a factory setup that everyone goes through a certain procedure, certain surgeries, certain number, and each one gets charged like 5-6 lakhs. And the doctor does 2 patients a day. So it's a huge cash machine, and it's a factory line, factory line surgery. So, and he's a very famous doctor in India. And we become a cash cow. At the end, our sisters are earning that on the street. It's in a way blood money. It's our sisters are earning this money in the streets and giving these to rich doctors, and they can think of us as a cash cow. They have zero understanding of our lives, what we go through, why we do this, nothing. They just, we're a good source of income, and really heavy income, right?
yes, that's devastating to know the truth realities of how people undergo surgeries, and it's another discussion. I think we need to understand why and how these the surgeries are taking place, and why it is so important for us to understand these concepts. Sure, Nadika. I think we are almost done with the webinar here. It's already 11:30. Thank you so much, Nadika, for being, and thank you, Nesra. I would now hand over to Harshita Vasant, who is the legal consultant of Elo Aura. Over to you, Harshita.
Thank you, Rochelle. Thank you for being an amazing host today. Any journey is difficult, but to be alone on a journey is, I think, the worst. It is unfortunate that we are now in 2024 and we still have someone as accomplished as one of our speakers to feel not equal. Our esteemed panel today has, thrown light on the challenges of belonging to a community that is unfortunately still treated as different. But their stories have just been inspiring, and more power to all of you all. Thank you, Nadika. Thank you, Nesra, and thank you, Parmesh, for your time today and also for sharing so many insightful stories and tips and bits of things that probably a lot of people in the audience today do need from you. And thank you for enlightening us about how we all, in fact, all of us, can be a part of this journey and make this world a better place. And for everyone in the audience, thank you for joining us again. Let us do more, to change our intentions to actions, because today I think that is something that we have learned, that intentions don't really help. It is only when our intentions change to actions that we are making some sort of a difference in the community around us. And in fact, from my experience, I've seen that many of us are not very familiar or do not understand certain pronouns or the intersections. And let us today decide that it is okay not to understand, but continuing to be ignorant about it is definitely not cool, and ignorance has never been cool. So for starters, I think we should start going through reliable sources to understand these differences amongst us and make sure those differences are not really any differences anymore. They're just part of the society that we all live in. So for starters, I think we have a few sources today from where we can learn and understand a lot. So go on palputhumai.com, where we have a set of vocabulary for us to understand what pronouns to use, or how to even just be respectful. The basic necessity, I believe, is to be respectful to another human being. And take a peek on these inspiring stories that have been listed on transgenderindia.com. And yeah, do order your copy of Queeristan today. Yellow Aura is a platform for everyone, no matter the walk you take. If you have something to talk about or you need someone to talk to, we are listening. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, team Aura, Hello Aura community. Thank you, Shalini ma'am. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Chengappa and Vopana. This has been amazing experience, and this has brought a lot of thought-provoking, things that we need to focus on. And definitely, the Yellow Aura group has made this platform more visible for all of us. So that's a thank. Yes. So we are done.